Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Forest Park Women's Club meeting. My name is Christy Johnson. I'm this year's president. And before we start, I'd like to everybody bow their heads and we say the club prayer. Our Father, as we gather together at this time, we thank thee for our many blessings, for the opportunities for service, and for the privilege of meeting together. May we ever be mindful of the fact that life is enriched by friendship and mutual understanding. May our work help us bring our share of life, freedom, truth, and love to the world. May we work in harmony with one another toward the fulfillment of the noble aims of this organization. Amen. We have a special master of ceremony with us today, our own club member, Diana Herbie, who is not only a club member, she's our treasurer, she's our public affairs person. She wears many hats, but also in the community, she's known as our councilwoman, she's in the Democratic Club, and the list goes on. I don't know how she does it, but she's a very busy person and she's very active, and we really appreciate everything that she does. Diana's going to take over for the rest of our meeting here. And welcome Diana Herbie, my sister friend.
What you don't know is there are three of me. This evening's program, I coordinated because I sit on the social committee. And I thought it might be good to have representatives from our city come and talk about services that the city has for seniors. But before I do that, I want to introduce someone that many of us old-timers may know. Our police chief, Bill Arns, is the son of our former member, Desi Arns. So if you haven't had a chance to say hi to him, please try to do that sometime today. And he's here in case to back up Rebecca if he needs to. Because she said she's nervous. I want to introduce, first of all, my colleague on, oh, wait a second. While I do this, I've got two more people coming up to speak. I also want to acknowledge somebody else who's not speaking, and that's our city manager in the back, Don Jones. So, thank you. Thank you. I want to introduce, first of all, my colleague on council for 14 more days, because I'm leaving. And that's council member Dr. Rosalind Moore. She's a doctor of nursing. And she's very invested in the health of our community. But she's also been very involved in working to see that we get a state-of-the-art public library here, and she's going to talk about the public library and some of the services there.
Shall I bring it up? Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and thank you for the invitation to speak today. So I'm so excited for our residents and our community partners and our surrounding neighborhoods, and for the residents of Hamilton County and our surrounding counties. Forest Park First just became the second largest city in Hamilton County. We have 20,189 residents, so that puts us in second position, second to the city of Cincinnati, and then it's the city of Forest Park. So we are excited about our position in the county, so we have to give ourselves a... And that happened because of our residents filling out the census. The census are so important because it brings resources and funding to our community. And so I'm very proud of our residents for stepping up and filling out those census and to put us in the position that we're in now. I like the word second. We're also in the position that we're getting a new library, and our library will be the second largest library in Hamilton County. The first library, the largest, is downtown, and then it will be the city of Forest Park. So we're on the move, and we're making changes in our community. So our library will be state-of-the-art, and it's going to provide services for our youth, services for our seniors, services for family and individual residents, and also our neighbors. And so with that service, we're hoping to have a makerspace, which brings technology to our community. It's going to improve health literacy, put us in a position where we have technology where people can apply for positions and jobs, and also other resources at the library. So those are just a few things that the library will bring to our community. It's going to spark economic growth. And so we're very excited about that partnership with the Cincinnati-Hamilton County Library. Other things that are going on is we just received a $278,000 grant through OKI to look at infrastructure, lighting, streets. And so we're very excited about applying for grants and providing additional services and resources to our community. So with that being said, thank you for being our residents. We really appreciate you and your commitment and service to our community. And we look forward to advancing and growing. Well, we're trying to grow. We won't reach Cincinnati. They have over 300,000 residents, but we're excited about our position in Hamilton County. Thank you.
Follow up a little quickly on what Rosalind said. What we're doing with the library here is doing sort of a land swap and providing some land that we have as a city and own for them to locate to and take over the land that they will be vacating in that building. So that building will be used as a resource for the city for, we haven't decided on yet exactly how it's going to be used, but there are many ideas being floated out there for that. I want to introduce a new employee in our fire department, and that's our health and education specialist, Kim Chelf. And she'll talk about some of the health and education services in the fire department.
Hi, good evening. As Diana said, my name's Kim Chelf. I'm relatively new at the fire department. I started there in August as the community health education person. And so while I'm new to that position, I have been working with the City of Forest Park for 6 or 7 years now through the We Thrive program. So previously I worked for Hamilton County Public Health. And so have gotten to know the city, and now I'm really excited to be working for the city and working with these guys right here. So a portion of my role is to help continue to facilitate the We Thrive program in Forest Park, and that is a community-driven initiative to improve the health of all the residents of Forest Park, and to really look at ways that we can make the people of Forest Park healthier. So over the years, we've done all sorts of things from produce giveaways to 5Ks to all sorts of stuff, and continue to kind of work with different initiatives through that program. So the things that we are currently looking at are improving biking infrastructure and safety in Forest Park, and so that will sort of benefit anyone who wants to ride a bike. So we're looking at bike paths, bike lanes, as well as things like bike racks and bike safety, so bicycle helmets, and all sorts of things kind of related to bicycles, and how do we connect up with some of the other bike trail networks that are in some of the surrounding communities to really make it easy for folks to come into Forest Park and move about Forest Park on bicycles, hopefully improve, people shopping, using the parks, going to local businesses, all of those sorts of things. So that's kind of one thing that we're looking at. Another one is really looking at fall prevention and how do we work with the residents of Forest Park to prevent falls. And that's something that's particularly relevant to older adults. As you get older, you get more at risk of falling. Falls can be really devastating if you fall and get injured. And so we're trying to figure out different ways that we can work to prevent falls in Forest Park through education, educating folks on different things you can do in your home, how you can make your home safer for yourself and for your loved ones. We're going to be working with our fire and EMS services to look at what they can be doing to kind of help out and looking at some of the run data and figuring out those sorts of things. And then working to educate folks who maybe aren't in that high risk category for falls just yet, but will be getting there soon, and thinking ahead about what they can go ahead and do now to make their homes safer for them so they can stay in their homes longer. They don't feel like they have to move. They don't feel like they're at risk of falling. They can stay at home in Forest Park, stay active, stay healthy for absolutely as long as possible. So that's something we're very excited about as well. Along with the We Thrive stuff, a couple of other things that I've kind of been working on with the fire department is really helping out Jermaine with our car seat inspection program. And so working to help anyone who is transporting kids make sure that their car seats or booster seats are installed correctly and that they understand how to install them and uninstall them if they need to. So that's particularly helpful for young parents, but also great for grandparents and aunties and uncles and babysitters and anybody that's transporting kids, because man, those car seats are complicated and it feels like you need a second degree to figure out how to get them in a car. So that's something that, if you have anyone in your life that needs help installing a car seat or just double checking a car seat, certainly have them call the firehouse and we can help out with that. And one of the other things that we're kind of doing in conjunction with that is really educating folks on safe sleep. So safe sleep is a huge topic for infants. And while a lot of you may not have your own infants at home, you may have grandbabies or, again, nieces, nephews, infants in your life, and really understanding what the current best practices are around safe sleep, how infants can sleep safely so that we prevent those infant sleep-related deaths. We want every baby that's born in Forest Park to grow up to live a long, healthy life. So the more we can do to prevent those sleep-related deaths and sleep-related injuries, the better. So we're really doing a lot with that as well. So I think that's it for what I'm going to talk about, because those are kind of the main things I'm working on, and I will leave the rest of it to these fine gentlemen. So thank you.
We have two gentlemen here from the fire department, our fire chief, Alfie Jones, and our assistant fire chief, Jermaine Hill. And I'm not sure how they're dividing the work, whether they're both going to speak or whether Alfie's going to defer to Jermaine.
Thank you. I don't want to. I'm just Alfie Jones. Don't even worry about doing that. I think the last time I spoke to the women's club was probably about 10 years ago when I was promoted. And once again, I was going to elaborate that I appreciate women in my life, because if we didn't have women, one, we wouldn't be here, and two, women are the ones who comfort us and console us. So I never would run to my father if I had hurt myself. I run to my mother because my father was always trying to mend me. And I was like, that's quite all right. I'm going to leave you alone. But I'd like to thank Councilor Herbie and Mayor Johnson, who they're both, you said 2 more weeks, but the programs that we're doing in the fire department, and I'll bring about the city, are under their tutelage, their guidance. They're the ones that allowed us to expand out of our traditional roles. And then as we start making changes of hiring a health educator, that's under the city manager, Don Jones. We have done different things in the community, in the city, that other communities have not done. And something that's truly true about Forest Park, you probably don't understand it, we have different departments. Right now, all the departments are roughly working all together. We're still providing police protection. They're still doing the patrolling. We're still doing fire and EMS. They're still doing their jobs. Public Works is doing their job of cutting the grass. But some of us are getting together collectively to provide what's value added for the community. So we're working together to what we can do to make Forest Park a better place to live and a better place where we can thrive and be happy all together. So I'm not going to say much more. We're going to still do our traditional fire service EMS stuff, but Jermaine and Kim Chelf have done immensely a lot, and it makes my job easier. It makes me look good. So I'm going to go sit down and look good, and I'll let Jermaine come on up here. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. I'm going to take this off for a second. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time to be a Forest Park resident and an employee of the city. I was born and raised in the city of Cincinnati, Bengal fan till I die, Hoo Day. But Forest Park is my adopted city. My wife is from Forest Park, so I love you guys. You gave me her, and for some reason she took me, so hey, I have nothing but great things to say about Forest Park. Now, I thought I was going to talk either first or second. So Chief Jones and Kim, they took a lot of my thunder. So I want to piggyback on what they said because it was all true. We are not just a fire department. We haven't been for a long time. We don't plan on ever just being a fire department. I don't think we are individual departments anymore. It's always been a plan for us to come together as one just to maximize our impact. It's because of the police department and Chief Jones. Like Chief Jones, he promoted me and put me in a position. He said, hey, I want you to take care of public relations, public education. Police officer Krista Schmidt at that time, she was heavy in the schools. She said, Jermaine, why don't you come talk with the kids one Friday? And it just kind of grew from there. So then when Krista left, and then we had Miss Rebecca in her spot, and was like, okay, well, it's time to return the favor. Hey, Rebecca, I'm doing A, B, and C. And Rebecca had, of course, she had her wonderful ideas as well that she's implemented and made the department and the city that much better. So we're going to continue in doing what we do. I love Forest Park. I absolutely love Forest Park. I brought a brochure or some folders that talks about our programs and some of our future plans. They're there for your viewing pleasure. I'll have my business cards there as well. I dance. If you oh, and I DJ. I DJ a little bit on the side. But sometimes I'm down here Monday afternoons or Monday mornings with the steppers, and we get it. We get it. And I always have some gym shoes with me. But in all seriousness, if you ever need anything from the fire department, I have my cards here. You can reach out to either Chief Jones, Kim, me. We will take care of you. If we don't know the answer, we'll get the answer. And I just thank you. I believe that God put me here to give others the opportunities that I didn't have when I was growing up. So until I'm gone, that's going to be my mission. So thank you so much for having me.
You disappointed me. Because I know about the number of programs that they have, and I wanted them to talk about those. This man here came to my house and installed smoke alarms and fire extinguishers, and they are available to do that kind of thing. I understand through the mayor, so this may be rumor, that one of the things that the fire department tries to do is identify people who in their homes rely on electricity for medical purposes, and they try to get a list of these people so that when we have power outages, they can reach out to them and help them. So can you tell us about some of the programs?
We do. As Councilor Irby stated, we do home inspections. We do, smoke alarm and installations. We do car seat inspections and installations. We've had up clothes drives, fundraisers. She mentioned, the fire extinguishers. Of course, we service hydrants. Pass me that folder, please. Let's see. Say, I'm not good at going off the top, so let's see. Cpr First Aid Babysitting. You guys have any teenagers? Send them our way. Now that, COVID is still here. COVID is still a very real thing. But, they can come masked up. We can teach them the babysitting courses. We'll make sure that we stay safe, maintain social distancing, and we'll put your teenagers in a position to make money. Or if you're a new parent or if you're a grandparent that'd love to learn CPR just so that you feel better in taking care of your children, please come our way. Daddy-daughter dance. I told you I could dance. Fire prevention station tours. Sleep education, car seat, produce pop-ups. So we have pop-ups once a month, mostly at Forest Chapel, and Rebecca Davis, she heads up the pop-ups where the residents can come, and it doesn't have to be a Forest Park resident, but mostly the Forest Park residents, they come, and we have food there for free, because during this pandemic, we've come across so many families that are in need of, you name it, toiletries, food, etc. So we try to put them in a position that they can still succeed, and any additional help that they need, we try to give it to them. We try to provide it. Knowing your numbers, like your blood pressure checks, your blood sugar checks. We had a program, initially it started with the fire department. We would come down with our seniors and we would check their numbers. We would check their blood pressures and do the glucose checks. Since then, the nurses from Xavier, they come down now and they do that service for us. So if you ever have any questions, come to the firehouse. We'll definitely check your blood pressure. We'll give you a card, help you keep track of it. I have blood pressure issues. Anybody on blood pressure medicines? Okay, I'm on 2. So I have to know my numbers and be safe, because I know you guys rely on me to come and not pass out in the yard. That's how my doctor got me to take blood pressure medicines, because I was so resistant. She was like, "What is your blood pressure right now?" She took it. It was like, I don't know, 150/110. And she was like, "What good are you going to be in a fire? You're going to pass out in someone's yard." I was like, you're right, give me the pills." That's a true story. That's a very true story. But it's very important that we know our numbers. Let's see, Kim talked about fall prevention, the bicycle safety. We have free bike helmets at the firehouse. So we try to remove all the barriers. There's no reason why we can't wear bike helmets, okay? Let's see. Talked about infant safety. So we have this program called the Firefighter Fitness Drill. It's been shelved since COVID, but I think it'll be back next year. This is a really unique situation where we are a part of the Wentwood School District curriculum. There's a fire department program that the students get graded on. Nowhere else in the country does this happen. So right here in Forest Park. Thank you. But we have the kids that we put them through an obstacle course that simulates firefighter movement. So we got them running, we got them chopping, we got them saving patients, we got them pulling fire hose and everything. And then afterwards, we talk about diet and exercise. What exercises they can do when they're watching cartoons, what they could do instead of playing video games all the time. As the older they get, we talk to them about dietary choices, easy things that they could do at home, as far as like making sandwiches, buying certain foods, things of that nature. Let's see, the prom promise. The students every other year over at the high school, we do a big prom blowout, talking to the kids about, the dangers of drinking and driving, especially texting and driving. More people die from distracted driving than they do from drinking and driving now, which is telling, yes. So we try to educate the students on that. We have a fire cadet program. Again, it was one of those things that was shelved during COVID, but it should be back for next year, depending on how the rates go. Chief Jones, Rebecca, and I, we mentor over at the high school every other Friday throughout the school year. Let's see. I think that's it. I know I'm probably forgetting something, but if you have any questions, just give me a call. I have my number. You can call my office number, or should I give you my cell phone, or you can text me. However you want to do it. We can talk. All right? Miss Diana, how was that?
While I was sitting over here, the police chief said, "I'm going on before Rebecca." So I'm going to have him come up and say a few words. Now, don't steal all of her thunder. Leave something for her to say.
Here, Jermaine, that's yours. My name is Bill Arns, and I'm the police chief. I have been with the police department since I was actually 16 years old. That's the truth. I started out as a police explorer when I was 10 years ago, yeah. When I was 16, and went through the Explorer program, became an auxiliary officer when I turned 21, and then when I turned 22, the city found it worthy to hire me full-time, which I was glad of, and served as a patrolman for a long time, promoted to sergeant, promoted to lieutenant, did some time as a detective, promoted to assistant chief, and then 3 years ago, when Phil Cannon retired, I was appointed police chief. So I know Rebecca has an outline that she was going to go by, and I'm kind of stealing some of what she's saying. But I'm going to let her talk about some of the community outreach programs that we do. And she is phenomenal, and I think Jermaine can probably attest to this, what an outstanding job she does with our community outreach and some of the programs she does, not only for seniors, but also for even the youngest in our communities at the daycare centers, and she's going to share some of that with you. She does such a phenomenal job that the Ohio Police Chiefs Association of Ohio recognized her programs and gave us an award for the month of November as one of the best police agencies in the state of Ohio. Absolutely. Yeah. And then the other thing I want to brag about, the police department, in March of 21, we achieved national accreditation through what is known as CALIA, which is an international organization of accreditation. And for those of you that know accreditation programs, we know we're good. But when you're accredited, that means somebody else came in, looked at what you do, you have to adhere to certain standards, and then they say, yeah, you're good at what you do. That was a 3-year program that we took 3 years to become accredited. And as we approach the end of this year, that accreditation program starts all over again. So the way it was described to us, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a marathon. It's a race that it just continues and continues. So I give Lieutenant Jim Ward of the police department all the credit for that. He's our accreditation manager, and we are very proud of being accredited. So I am going to turn this over to Rebecca, who is our community neighborhood specialist. I think that's kind of what we call her everything, but she does a phenomenal job, and just listen to some of the stuff she does because it is outstanding.
Thank you. I have been with the police department now for about 14 years, 11 more to go. The 14 has flown by, though, and probably about 6 years ago is when they started the community resource specialist position, but that was a very trying time as far as having enough officers on the road and finances. So the program started, but then you got pulled back to road. But when Chief Arns became the chief, he made it a priority to make that position one that wasn't a bounce back and forth. It was a full-time, this is what she does. And since that time, we've been able to put in different programs into place, and people are familiar and comfortable with them now because they are set in stone. They don't just go away when times get hard. It is a dedicated position. With the road patrol, everybody associates police officers with either taking people away, arresting them, getting them taken out of their homes or away from their families, or domestics. They see us with thefts and property damage. And those are all the things that as a police department, we have to fulfill and do those duties every single day. So any call that comes in, no matter what it is, we go to those details. And all of it is recorded, and it's all public record. So there's things that we have to do, and we have to make sure that they're taken care of. But there's a lot of things that we as police officers deal with that aren't necessarily crimes or police-related issues. I mean, we get phone calls from parents who can't get their kids to take a bath or won't. I'm serious. Well, and let's look at it this way. If you were never taught certain things, it's really hard to be a parent and teach your children that. So sometimes they need someone to step in and say, hey, you're the parent here. You need to be able to talk to them and be the parent and not their friend, kind of a thing. We're animal control on a daily basis for either dogs running free or animals. And sometimes we have to call the fire department because they're stuck in the gutters or down in the storm drains. But we get a variety of different things. We'll have neighbors who are having issues with each other, but they're not criminal issues. So sometimes I get to go out and play mediator there because I can take a little bit more time than someone who has to answer at the next run. We also at the police department have our SRO. He's our school resource officer. He's not here tonight, but he saves us a ton of time by handling things in the school. And I know a lot of times people think that the school resource officer is there just to arrest the kids and take them away, but that is not it. Anybody that knows Officer Harris knows that he is like a second father or a first father to many of those kids. A lot of them call him uncle. They come to him and they talk to him about things that they will not talk to teachers or counselors or their parents about. So he is such a great asset to the police department. He does talks inside of the school with the kids when we were having all of the media outcry about how police do their jobs. He sat down with them. He said, no, you tell me, you ask me those questions, and I'm going to answer them as honestly as I can, and then we can talk about it. He showed them different footages from the news, and then they discussed it because he wanted to be upfront and honest with them, and he didn't want them to. A lot of times, if you don't talk about it, then their perception is the only thing they know, or what they hear in their household is the only thing they know. And he didn't want them to be afraid of us. So he does a lot of talks with that. We go to a lot of their functions. We go to their homecoming dances, to their proms. We go to the football games. So they see us on a regular basis, and they come up and they talk with him. And it makes our job easier because they're not afraid of us anymore. I'm sorry, I'm more long-winded than all of them, so I apologize. But we do so much stuff that people don't realize. Like, a police department is not just sitting in the cruiser and writing traffic tickets. The other part is my position, the community response specialist. When it started out, it was said, you go do it, make it your own. The wonderful thing about Chief Arns is I say, can I? And he's like, whatever you need to do, just do it. So it makes it nice because there's no holds barred. Like, he's fully supportive in everything that I do. One of the things that I do, I work with the fire department. We do the fire safety drills, and I still can sprint faster than Jermaine. Okay, I can go longer. I can run longer than he can. He'll get winded first. How about that one? You'll give me that one? Okay. And that's such a great opportunity when he brought me into the school to be able to do that, because now they associate us with that. Kids come up to us and say, when are we going to get to do it again? Which is a wonderful thing for kids to be excited about exercise. We're part of the Kiwanis. Chief Jones and Assistant Chief Hill and myself are part of the Kiwanis. So we go into the schools once a year and give books out to the third graders. We do the bike safety fair up at the Hamilton County. Yeah. And we do the bike safety. We do Christmas outreach. See, this is, when you talk about the police department, you can't help but talk about the fire department, because we are truly unique to a lot of cities where they're like, you did what with your fire department? We work well together. A matter of fact, if we have an idea, pick up the phone, hey, you guys want to, they're like, whatever you think we need to do, you tell us. So. No. So we help get Christmases for families. We took the bikes that the council was kind enough to allow us to take out of the bike shed that were either found on the side of the street or just left somewhere, and our Day Springs Church men's group refurbished them, and we gave out bikes. So we do a variety of things. Like, it's hard to keep it in that short little 15-minute time frame. I'm sorry. But we do that. We try to assist them. We do the produce pop-up, which is healthy because it's the produce. It's fresh produce. And I don't know about y'all, but when you go to the grocery store, produce is expensive. And we've been doing it once a month all year long. Our last one is December the 10th. and we had plenty left over. So please, if you want produce, come, take it, please. We only asked for 100 families. They delivered way more than what we requested. So, we don't want food to go to waste. Next year, we're going to discuss better timing for it, but we will continue to have them next year as well. And that is in conjunction with the Free Store Food Bank. Sorry, I'm almost done, I promise. We also do the community patrol, which of course we've got some members that are here, but because of COVID, it kind of fell to the wayside just because you couldn't have the meetings. But hopefully we start back up in March because January and February are awful. So hopefully we'll come up with some new game plans for that and start getting people interactive with it. We also do safety talks with businesses. Sometimes it could be active shooter. Sometimes it's just on personal safety for their people when they're going back and forth to their vehicles and whatnot. So any business that wants that, all they have to do is call and we will set that up. I just came right before this meeting from the Latino Outreach. It is over at the Holy Episcopal Church at Hanover and Waycross. They teach the Latinos how to speak English, and they in turn are helping me learn Spanish. I'm a little slow, but I'm getting there. But we do different programs with them as well. In the past, we've helped them with Christmas. We've attended their different, I don't know what you would call it. It's not a church service, but it's their celebrations of different things. And the whole reason that we started going to that Latino Outreach and their homework club is because the Latino community is often afraid of the police. And we wanted them to get familiar with us so that they would come to us when they need help. And not a lot of their crime, a lot of the things that happen to them go unreported because they're so afraid we're going to take them away from their homes. And that's not what we do here in Forest Park. We're here to help them. And I've worked with them for the last couple of years, and it's really made a huge difference. Like they'll actually approach officers now and speak with them versus trying to walk away and hide from them. I do a lot of work with the churches. I try to visit a different church most Sundays, except for the ones that I take off. But the whole reason for doing that is because each church has got something unique and different to give to the community, and they are always trying to help the community. And when I go and visit with them, we have that networking. So when Day Spring Church is doing a backpack giveaway, I go up and I help them with that. I make sure that I help them get the word out. Word of Deliverance helped me get blankets one year so that we could deliver them, the community patrol could deliver them over to the Care Corps nursing home. So we just work together. And whenever they need something, Red Door is handing out feast baskets for Thanksgiving. So they were like, hey, find me some people who need it. So we were able to connect people. That's the whole thing, is connecting each other with other people so that we can have a bigger, better, stronger community. And the last one, but it's my favorite, is my FRESH program. It's First Responders Educating Safety and Health. I go into the daycares. I don't know if you guys have ever heard it when you're in the grocery store and there's a police officer, and there never fails, there's a parent says, hey, look, there's a police officer, you better be good or they're gonna take you away. No, we are not gonna take you away. And I will tell them that. We don't take little kids away, we don't arrest little kids. But we wanted the children to run to us and not from us. So I go, right now it's 3, but in January it will be 5 different daycares. 2 more have asked that they be added to the list. I go to them and I read a story, and it could be the simplest of stories. It could be Little Red Riding Hood, but the lesson at a Little Red Riding Hood is you don't talk to strangers. Goldilocks, you don't go into people's houses that you don't know. I've got some books that are to be inclusive of diversity. So it's like, can I join your club? You don't have to look the same, talk the same, act the same to be able to interact and have fun and to do great things. So those are the different kinds of things that we're trying to teach them, not only their personal safety, but in general, just how to be good people who are accepting of others. And then the second part of that is we exercise every single lesson. Now when I get there, the first thing they say is, can we exercise? No, we have to do the story first. But some of those 4- and 5-year-olds can do better push-ups than me, let me tell you. Some of them are good. But we make the exercise fun too. So like they do squats that turn into a jump, and that is when we're dribbling the basketball up and down and they shoot the hoops, or baseball. We try to make it fun. And we're trying to make that an even bigger program next year. We want to do more of the bike safety with the daycares, and we want to do like traffic safety, crossing the roads and different things like that. But that's the one that we got recognition for because it's wonderful. I absolutely love it. And the kids, it doesn't matter what store I'm in, they will run up and hug me, and their parents will look weird, and the kid will just turn around and say, no, Dad, they're good. So it's working. That's all I can say is it's working. They're not afraid of us, and that's the most important thing for all of the residents of Forest Park to know that we're here to help you. We're not here to take anything away or to hurt you. We have a job to do, but we are here to help, and that's what we really want to stress to everyone. Now I have cotton mouth because I talked way too long. I am so sorry.
Before I get to Jay Dennis, who's our recreation director, you may see that there's a theme here. One of the things that I think we pride ourselves on is that instead of just providing police services or fire services or public works services, we are also concerned about quality of life. And we had a quality of life committee a number of years ago that just kind of went defunct. One of the things that the mayor wanted to do before he left office was to revise the rules of council, and included in that he wanted to bring back the quality of life committee. And that will deal with things like trying to reinvigorate the citizens on patrol and the property maintenance watchdogs and things of this sort, so that we really are dealing with quality of life issues in this community. So, Jay, you want to tell us about recreation?
All right, good evening. Thank you, Rebecca, for leaving me 30 seconds to talk.
I just have so much to say all the time.
I do want to thank Councilor Herbie. She's been a great friend of Parks and Rec. I will miss our every Thursday night calls when you can't figure out the microphone, or that's an inside joke. I do want to thank the Women's Club. Someone at the top of the hill asked me, why are you talking at the Women's Club? And I said, I have a house with myself, my wife, and 4 teenage girls. I am here to learn. Help me. I am getting better. I no longer run out of the room whenever they start talking, though. So, but no, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Like she said, I'm with the Parks and Rec. We are the fun part of the city. I remember in college, I came home and showed my dad my classes, and one of my classes was the art of leisure. And for 20 years, he had reminded me that I took a leisure class in college. And I said, look at me now. So, Parks and Rec, there's 2 parks and you got the rec. So the parks, we have 5 outside parks and some green spaces. I'm sure you're familiar with Central Park. We also have Kemper Meadow across. We have Bruce Ferguson. We have Cantor, and we also have veterans. Central Park is where we want to start focusing on. We were just a recipient of a $100,000 grant. Thank you. And the city has matched 50%, so we're going to put $150,000 into Central Park. So it's going to be awesome. And some of the improvements are also going to affect Bruce Ferguson. We're going to move some equipment over there. Veterans, if you've noticed, we've taken out the equipment. We're going to turn that into a tot lot, like a little neighborhood park. So we are constantly making improvements to all of our parks, and we're very excited. The other part is the recreation. Recreation kind of comes down to three different parts. We've got youth sports, we've got special events, and we've got seniors. Youth sports, basketball, baseball, soccer, soccer twice a year, softball. We're doing youth sports year-round. And if you've noticed in the last 2 years, we have been devastated with sports programming. Pleasant Run Farms no longer has a sports program. Green Hills no longer has a sports program. COVID has really affected. And for the last 2 years, a year and a half, we've had real problems with signups. People are afraid, or they didn't want to come out of the house, whatever it was. And I am happy to announce that this past basketball season, which is going on right now, 2 years ago we had 13 teams, the highest teams we had had for a while. Last year we had no teams. This year we're back to 9. So this is our first team we've had in a year and a half, and we are very excited. We are very excited. So people are coming back out. We are super excited about that. The second thing I talked about was special events. I'm sure if you've lived in Forest Park long enough, you've been to one of our special events. How many people have been to the Jazz in the Park? If you haven't been, I don't know why. It's a great event. So, and we're hoping to bring that back next year, always the first Saturday in August. Cincinnati Pops, we had them here. We had Party in the Park. One of the things I will tell you, if you ever need it to rain, do something on the day we have an event. Because it will rain, I promise you. Because all those events I just mentioned, it rained on. We've done, let's see, neighborhood picnics. We helped out with the Bicycle 5K, Gospel Fest, breakfast with Easter Bunny, breakfast with Santa Claus. Our last event was the Harvest Festival, which, again, even though, of course, it rained, we had approximately 800 people come out on a Saturday afternoon. It was a little chilly, it was a little rainy, but I mean, the community was supporting us. And we had over 25 vendors. We had the firehouse open house. They had their trucks out. It was just a wonderful, wonderful event. And we really appreciate the community support coming back and supporting our programs. In fact, our next program that we're working on right now is we're going to have a Santa parade. And I don't think we've done that before, have we? And we're gonna have a Saturday afternoon in December, and it's gonna follow the homecoming route. And we're gonna put Santa on top of a fire truck, and we're gonna have Mrs. Claus there, and we might have an elf doing a little DJ music. But we're gonna pass out candy canes, and we're hoping it's just gonna be a great afternoon, and just kind of, again, just getting back out in the community and doing things safely and just celebrating Forest Park. And then the third thing that we offer here, like the seniors, this is the senior center, this wonderful facility. The seniors they do field trips. We're hoping to bring those back next year. They've gone everywhere from La Comedia, the casino, music hall, the state fairs, the local fairs. They love field trips, and I love going on them. So we're going to bring those back. They do luncheons. They also have, if you're interested, they do quilting, they do sewing. They've got Scrabble, dominoes, cards and games, Pokino, bridge. If you play it, we probably do it here. So if you're not a member, we would love to have you. We're always looking for new members. Our next year membership is getting ready to open up, so we'd love to have you guys come out and check us out. Anything I missed? Anything I missed? You're gonna yell at me when I get. Line dancing. Thank you. Line dancing is one of our biggest. It's every Monday. It's at 11 o'clock. We have. It's one of our most popular programs. We've got a great instructor. He's very energetic. If you come and you try and sit down, you won't last more than 2 minutes. He'll have you up and he'll have you moving. Even Jermaine, maybe even Alfie over here. And then another popular program we have is actually Silver Sneakers, and we have that 3 days a week. And they're in here. You can do chairs, you can do standing up, but it's moderate, it's a beginner, it's intermediate, whatever exercise level you are, we'll support you. So, anything else? And then we also have our civic groups in the senior center as well, which we love to support. We got the Women's Club, the Democratic Club, we got the Garden Club, we got Block Watch. We also have Girl Scouts that are meeting in here. We're trying to find a Boy Scout group that can start coming in here. Young Marines of Cincinnati we're working with as well. So we love to have civic groups. We love civic groups in Forest Park. But that's it for Parks and Rec.
Piggyback on a couple things. One, I know that the steppers, the people that come in and do line dancing, also do a lot of community outreach to the community. And I know they do supplies for the kids, I think, in the fall, and also canned goods, I think. So yeah, they're constantly doing community programs, which is very good. And what was the other thing? Oh, I know. At one time, the Recreation Department was doing some self-esteem programs for young girls. And I know that the mayor would like to see that resurrected again, and also something similar for young boys as well. So yeah, so a lot going on in the community, and I want to say that I am extraordinarily pleased with our police department for the outstanding certification that they received. And I am very passionate about our staff. They are very dedicated and go above and beyond. And so thank them all. And thank them for coming. And yes, I know that there were questions that people wanted to ask. So, yeah.
I was wondering in the recreation if you do anything with your tennis courts as far as tournaments or clubs.
No, that is actually something that was brought up at our last park board meeting. So that's something we're going to look into start doing next year. Right before COVID hit, I had actually signed a contract with someone to start teaching lessons to our kids. And of course, that all went away, so I want to bring that back as well. So I mean, that's a beautiful asset that we have, and we need to start utilizing it a little bit more.
Well, I was also thinking possibly of putting together tournaments like with Wyoming and Green Hills and Forest Park and rotating people through the different courses.
Yeah.
So that was something I was thinking about.
What age?
All ages. And then the other question I had was, where is the new library going to go?
That is still up in the air. I know that they want to be in some visible place in the community, and we certainly have plenty of available spots that we own. So,
Do you have spaces that don't have anything in them anymore that you could utilize?
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
they're actually going to build. They're definitely going to build from ground up. We know that. So, yeah.
I'll piggyback on Jay, the pickleball courts too. We have So we have pickleball courts, and do we still carry the supplies, or? Yeah, so we have pickleball courts that a lot of seniors are utilizing. Even, I think it's even down to the teenagers. I think a female just won a pickleball national tournament. So we have that here in Forest Park.
Any other? Teresa, you got a question?
I have several. Number one, where's Veterans Park?
Where at?
Veterans.
It's off of Hamilton Avenue, close to the highway, off of Reliant.
It's where Della lives.
Yeah, it's our street.
Everybody knows Della.
That's how I tell people to get there.
I had a question about the CPR classes.
Yes, ma'am.
Are they scheduled regularly, or do you have to have people sign up? Do you have enough people in a class, or how does that happen?
All right, so in the past, we've scheduled them regularly, but sometimes we would get one person, sometimes we would get five, a lot of times we wouldn't get any. So what I do is take the person, like if they have several individuals, or if they're a business and they want to schedule a class, we schedule it. But we also can schedule online classes where the person can log in, do the book study, and then call me when they're ready to test out. And that way, instead of them spending 4 hours with me or 4 hours out of their day, 8 hours out of their day, they can do the coursework whenever they feel like it, and then call me and we can knock out practicals in like an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one other question. Why does Forest Park not have a swimming pool?
What?
I will tell you what I know of the history. I will tell you what I know of the history. We did have an activity center and a pool here. It was membership was open to people who had to purchase a membership to belong. Those memberships diminished. We ended up with about 12 families, and we could not sustain running it with such little income. And then we reached the point where the repairs were also getting out of hand to the point where we had to take it apart, fill it in actually. And then we maintained the activity center for use until, again, repairs necessitated us taking that down.
But you have such a large population since then. I mean, that was 25 years ago.
It's finance. And I will tell you that we constantly, as council members, are constantly weighing where do we put our money. All communities were very, very hit by the housing decline in 2008. And to be perfectly honest, we have never completely recovered from that. We put police hiring on hold. We let go of 13 people. We put capital improvements on hold. And over the years, we've brought back some of those things. I'm still not where I would love to have been with our street repairs. But you constantly balance priorities. There's been repeated calls for a recreation center. Please don't ever think that the council members do not want it. We'd love to have it. The question is, one, how do you build it? And we could get funding to do that, but then how do you maintain it from year to year? And that's the other thing. And that is an ongoing cost that you need to have in your budget. And if you can find a way for us to do it, I'm sure that the council members would be more than happy to have your ideas, but that is a problem. And I will tell you that, I've also been intimately working with economic development as the liaison to that. We're constant, and I have to tell you, we have a tremendous economic development committee, one person. Is outstanding in terms of recruiting businesses here. The more businesses and high-paying jobs in businesses that we can get, the better off we will be. And I can tell you that, we have ups and downs. All communities are competing for the same people to come into their communities. Sometimes we get a business and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we lose businesses. I can tell you one of the challenges is the size of our buildings. We are extraordinarily good at recruiting businesses, growing businesses here. They reach a point at which they want to expand. Sometimes they have available land to expand to. Sometimes they have to go to a larger facility, and we are challenged in terms of having buildings that they can go to. One of our fondest people was Process Plus. They grew so large, we could not accommodate them in any of the buildings that we had in the community. They went someplace else. These are the challenges that you face, and we'd love to be able to provide more for our citizens, but these are some of the challenges that we deal with. I do want to say one thing that I wanted to mention about the senior center. That membership in that is open to residents and non-residents. Non-residents will pay a slightly higher fee, but it is open to non-residents, and I know we have a lot of non-residents in our club. So if you want to come out and join the senior center, you're certainly welcome to do that. Jay, do you have?
As far as the pool, There's not a pool in Cincinnati that makes money. Every rec pool is heavily subsidized because it's only open 3 months out of the year. You're paying lifeguards, you're paying staff, you're paying all these people. So one of the things we've looked into and actually applied for a grant is a splash pad. So put a splash pad out here. You don't have to man it. You turn it on. But the other 9 months out there, you can still use it as a playground, that type of thing. So that we are looking into those things. We just applied for a $150,000 walking path grant. So we are constantly looking for new ideas and new things.
Yeah, because you have such a large population of children in this city. For the summer, it's like, what do they do?
Every May, read an article online about the pools at the city of Cincinnati, that they're closing half of them because they can't afford them. And so that's just not a unique problem to us. It's the largest city. They're having problems as well.
Yeah, but they have like 8 pools.
23.
Okay. I'm talking about one.
Diane, I think it's also important to realize that the Forest Park Swim Club was not owned by the city of Forest Park. That was a private entity that was started by a civic group. And then when the Forest Park Swim Club began to fail because of lack of membership and maintenance issues, the city actually bought that property and tried to revive it, but because of maintenance, they just couldn't. And that is why it ended up where it is now. Yeah. And
Lack of finance.
absolutely, lack of finance, but that was all privately financed.
I wonder what was the finance that people couldn't afford it in your community.
Not many families. We all grew up. The baby boomers grew up.
Yeah, but they have children. The children.
But they were all moving
How many
outside.
children do you have in the Wittenwood schools?
Well, the Wittenwood Schools isn't just Forest Park.
Well, 90% of it is.
Not 90%.
Okay, about 80.
To address the swimming pool issue, as I understand, Green Hills still has a pool, and they have a reciprocal agreement with Forest Park that if you're a member, if you live in Forest Park, you can join the Green Hills pool for less than, or it's either reimbursed, or in other words, if you live in Forest Park, you can go to the Green Hills pool, and it doesn't cost that much.
First of all, I just want to say kudos and thank you all that putting yourselves out there and your lives on the line for us. I think that's amazing. I did have a question about the Fresh program with the produce and other programs that you do. Are civilians able to be involved, or is this something that, do you take volunteers or take donations or?
Anybody who wants to volunteer is more than welcome. Jay's family had to come be forced to volunteer several times. It's a hit or miss, though. We either have tons of volunteers or we have few volunteers. You can just call. Actually, because Kim is now here with me, starting next year, once we figure out exactly how we're going to set it up, you can feel free to call either the fire department or police department, and we will be more than happy to let you know which days we need help with. Yeah, we're always looking for volunteers, and that can be like even with our Harvest Fest, we got volunteers. Well, they needed volunteer hours from the high school, so we had a bunch of our mentoring students who came over and did it. So we are always looking for volunteers. I don't know if we can put that out on, our We Thrive is working on getting a page set up that's friendly to everyone, and we'll put that out there, and maybe that'll be a good way, but we're working on it. We struggle sometimes, but we pull it together at the end, but we would love to have volunteers. So like I said, you can call the fire department or the police department, and either one of us, we work, or the Recs department. I'm sorry. Especially when we get our Jazz in the Park next year, we're gonna need help. we always need volunteers. The steppers always step up and help out, and the community patrol steps up and helps out, but we always need more volunteers. With the FRESH program, that's my first responders educating safety and health. I know it kind of goes with the produce, but we do teach them about healthy eating. But right now that's in the daycare, so they limit who can come in. However, I do want to expand that so that we can have, doesn't necessarily have to be at daycares, like we can have something maybe either here or somewhere in the community. And when I finally get that part of it up and rolling, I would love to have volunteers. So we'll just try to keep posted on that. Thank you for asking.
I was going to say, part of my role is to kind of help these guys think ahead a little bit. They're so busy with what they're doing that they're not always able to kind of put things out there like, hey, we need volunteers for this. So a huge part of what my role is to help them sort of go, hey, we've got that thing coming up. Let's see if there's anybody out there that wants to help. Because we know there's people that do, but oftentimes there's so much going on. I mean, you've heard about all the things they talked about, plus all the things that the police department does and all the things that the fire department does. And so it's harder, I think, for them. Part of my role is to help them be a planner. So I've got my card, and you can reach out to me, and I will make sure that we reach out to you for those produce pop-ups next year, because, we definitely could use assistance.
Diane, I was going to say, the movers and shakers of Forest Park when it comes to recreation events, they're here. I mean, take me out of the picture. I'm just a figurehead. But the movers and shakers are here, so if you want to be involved in it, get in contact with them. They're always looking for it. The vision's there. We love to see new visions. So get their business cards and let's move forward. Let's keep moving Forest Park forward.
Rebecca, I know you send out flyers for Thrive and everything to the churches, because you know we're Kimber Christian Church. If you would also do the volunteer emails ahead of time, I mean, because we have like 3 or 4 different groups within our church alone that might be interested in doing, and I'm not the only church that you send out to. So there could be other men's group, women's groups, or other groups that you might be able to cipher volunteers from also. You're welcome.
How do we find out about all the activities that are here in the senior center, or any of your activities?
They do a monthly flyer?
I guess a monthly
flyer. Where do you live? I'll drive to your house and tell you what's going on. So every year we put out a calendar for our rec events and our senior events. I do have monthly calendars that we have for all the senior events. The first of every month we put this on our Facebook and on our website. So those are probably the 2 best places that you should check. Facebook is updated pretty much daily. So we'll put, if we got an event this week, you're going to see it almost every day on Facebook. It's going to be on our event page. You're going to see the flyer. You're going to see something. So if you're not on Facebook, go to the website. If you don't have internet access, we've got hard copies of schedules. So we try and get the information out there. We've got a sign out here that we update. We put you've seen the banners for Jazz in the Park or Cincinnati Pops. We put the banners out. We're trying to find better ways to communicate to everyone. So if you've got something, I know Rebecca does a great job with, what's the Next Door. So if you're on Next Door, if you're not, get on there. We put stuff on there. Honestly, going forward, I know you might not like it, but social media, websites, those are going to be the best way to get information. Ray Gwen's got a great email address that he sends out information with. So it's going to be electronic, most likely how you're going to get 90% of your information.
I know that I have seen these calendars in the lobby of the municipal building. There is a place where there's information. We've even used it ourselves to advertise some of our things. I've taken them over there and put information there. So if you happen to be up around the municipal building, check out the lobby and the place where all this all the forms are there that if you need forms, and there's also information, community information there as well. Anything else? We've gone way over. But I appreciate your questions. No, it is not your fault. It's not your fault. We had a few people that didn't say a whole heck of a lot, so you didn't really go over.
Let's have a pull some more.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to thank all of our guests for coming. We really appreciate it. I think our ladies and our gentlemen here in the audience today learned a lot, and we're proud of this city. I know you are, I am. I've been here over 20 years. Oh my gosh. What we're going to do now, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and then we will have our general meeting. But right now, in the back room back there, we do have candy and nuts for sale and kitchen buddies. So please, guests, go visit and see what you can, make great gifts. Secretary gifts, president of the Women's Club gifts, stocking stuffers or whatever. So take a few minutes, look around, and also, ladies, don't forget we have a sign-up sheet for a couple of our events, and Donna Baumgartner will be taking money for our Christmas dinner. So stretch, stand up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.